Welcome to Athena and Truth's YouTube channel, where we provide tips and insights for you to live your best life. I am your host, Heidi Freilich. Hello, everyone. Hi, Robin.
Hi, Heidi.
We haven't done one of these one-on-ones in a little while because we've been busy doing other sessions with other channelers. So it's good to be back just doing this.
Mm-hmm.
Today, we wanted to talk to listeners about conflict and how that is in your life and why it comes to you, why it's attracted to you. And then we also just wanted to touch on a new experience that I experienced that Robin, through the group, is offering or starting to offer now to some of the people close to her in her life. So we'd like to talk about that and give people a little idea of what's to come with that. So let's get started right away with conflict.
Mm-hmm. We're calling it conflict, but let's just call it right and wrong, good and bad, anything that a human would deem maybe something they don't agree with or something that they feel blamed about or not responsible for. Let's use that term. Yes.
Mhm.
And so we did a podcast the other day, Heidi. I believe maybe you might have listened to it, and we described a little conflict between a husband and wife where perhaps he forgot to make a message to someone that was supposed to come over to babysit, and the wife was excited to go out, and a little frustration started based upon some of the things she held within herself. Yes. And then likewise, he responded the same way with things that are stored within himself. And then they both quickly became unconscious. This is what we want to talk about today. Let me see.
Yes.
So this is going to, we said we would just take a pot shot or a numbers guess just to give a human an idea that maybe 1 in 100,000 people will be able to implement what it is that we are about to tell you to try to implement. Yes. So just to let you know that this is an evolution process. It is not an easy thing for a human to do, but this is what you are striving to achieve. Let's use that term. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So basically what occurs in a human's life is you continue as you're going through your life in your day-to-day interactions, you're going to have people, situations, and circumstances that are going to come before you that you are attracting to yourself. And this is where the problem comes in. A lot of times a human will encounter some negativity, as they would deem it, from maybe a nasty clerk in the store. Maybe their own spouse will accuse them of something. Maybe they will have a bad experience at their gym or whatever it is that they are running into. Yes. And so immediately when this happens, you become stimulated because you have to understand that the person that you are encountering in the negativity would never be before you if there wasn't some type of an energetic charge in you that drew them in, you see. And so when they come before you, you get triggered, and then you immediately go unconscious, and then you start to react in unconscious ways. You start to meet that energy where it is, you start to deny, you start to justify, you start to oppose, all the while this is your emanation to all that is, and you're dipping down. Yes, you're giving up your manifestations, you're moving them out a little bit further because you have decided that this situation is worth you going into an argument over to preserve self, you see. So we want you to understand that these interactions that you're having are not about good and bad or right and wrong or whether you deserve it or don't deserve it. They're all about you, you see. So there's really never any reason for you to be upset or irritated with the one before you that is simply bringing you a message that you've called out for, you see. So we know that humans aren't going to like this because they want to protect the small self. A human once in a while we'll have a discussion with them, and we'll talk about different levels of consciousness and how as this goes on in their life, and as they educate themselves more, and as they become more understanding of the creators that they are, that their consciousness will rise, and that in that rise of consciousness, a lot of things that existed in the first 3 energy centers of fear and lack and lust and the like will not be as influential in their life. You see, they will just gradually start to move up in their vibratory level, and then they will leave behind some of these things that they would think that in past encounters that they would never be able to leave behind. How are they going to do it, you see? So the main point that we are trying to make in the discussion that we are having today is that mastery is a human is always going to feel. You're going to feel yourself. So you're going to feel that charge of energy. You're going to feel that opposition or that reaction to the person that you have drawn to yourself in the negativism that you are experiencing. But the master decides to choose differently. One person, we are asking to try to have at least one person person in the exchange maintain their consciousness. And what does that mean? It means that they do not dip in their vibratory level. They do not go to defense. They do not go to judgment. They do not go to pushing against. They don't care really about the situation at hand. All they care about is the vibration that they are going to emanate in every exchange that they are having, because they know that this is the determining factor of what it is that will be coming to them from all that is, you see. So now there is no longer any right and wrong situation. There is no longer trying to defend oneself. There's trying to preserve oneself by oneself. And so how do you do that? You cannot imagine the freedom that one feels when you just decide that if someone has an opinion of them, if someone has a judgment of them, if someone has an accusation towards them and comes at them with it, they simply decide not to join it. Because why? They know they're not the human. Their human may have done something wrong. Their human may have misbehaved. Their human may have made a mistake. And they can see that that human is pointing it out to them. But they separate themselves from the human that they mistakenly think that they are, yes? And they decide to become this high energy source that picks and chooses how they are going to feel. And they decide to be the one that maintains alignment, not by pushing against the one in front of them, because you see they are unconscious. If they are in an emotive state, you are not going to get anywhere. You are not going to change their mind. You are not going to get them to decide that you are not wrong and they are right. None of this is going to occur. What is going to occur is an argument and a lowering of your vibratory level, you see. So you decide that in any argument, you become this peacemaker, this peacekeeper. And now many humans would think that we are asking them to be a doormat. We are not. We would say you are more of a doormat when you become like the one in front of you, you see. That would make you equal to have your shoes, dirty shoes wiped upon you, because that's what you have done. You've taken on the energy of the one in front of you. That's a doormat, in our opinion. But what we would really like you to do is become this crystal clear, clean pair of shoes that just holds your vibratory level in love and says the obvious. I can see you are very upset right now. I can see that whatever has transpired here has caused you to feel this way or that way. Don't push against them. Try to make them aligned, soothe them, do everything that you can to allow them to come back into their connection through your connection. Now, we know that that was a long way around, and we're going to give you an opportunity to respond now.
Yeah. Well, first I'd like to say that that's, as a human, that's so much easier said than done, because
But we're not asking you as a human, are we?
I
We
know,
asked you to separate yourself from your
I
human.
know,
We
I
asked you to
know.
call out to the high part of yourself. There it is again. We asked you to ask. We asked you to call in
Yeah,
that high part of yourself to do all the work for you, because it is
yeah,
the thing that is doing everything.
right. Well, I guess I should rephrase. I think when the human self is in that moment and we're unconscious,
Mhm.
it's difficult sometimes when you're stimulated to remember to call the high self in and handle it that way. And so I
Let me stop
sometimes,
you for a moment.
okay,
Isn't it difficult to not feel good, to feel negativity? Why
absolutely,
does a
but
human think that that is not difficult?
I 100% agree, but it's like you get caught up in that, and before you know it, you're in an out of a hand situation, and you're thinking, "Oh shit," but it's already going on.
And then, and
I
aside from being caught up in, you're choosing suffering. This is what you're doing.
Yeah, yeah. So, I mean, I tend to want to believe, as I'm sure many of our listeners do, that I'm beyond being stimulated by that, that I should be able to
Huh.
be the high self and that I shouldn't allow myself to be triggered. And I will say it is getting easier, but there are times where I still do. And
Yeah.
that's why I say the soothing that you talk about is
Yes.
so, so important, because
Yes.
I've had a couple experiences in the last couple of weeks where um, the soothing was offered, and maybe it wasn't offered right at the time that it was needed,
Yes.
um, but it was eventually offered, and then I was able to work through it at a much faster rate. So I feel
Yes.
like that is really important, to either be the soother, or if someone soothes you, and if you don't have that experience, try to stop yourself and soothe yourself.
Yes. Yes.
Mhm.
When you feel the charge, when you feel as though you want to respond to something that is coming at you and what you would deem as negativity, this is
Yeah.
the time for you to draw a deep breath and invite the high part of yourself in and make a decision right there, right then. My human, yes, I can feel you. You want to respond to this. You are very justified. I am not condemning you. I know the life experiences you've had. I know why this one is before me. I know that I have incurred, let's say, perhaps controlling parents. I know that I have had a controlling spouse. I know know that I have had, you go through the life experiences that might be responsible for the charge of energy that has brought the one before you that is before you, you see. And so as you soothe your human, as you let it know that you appreciate what it is giving you in its response to the life experience that is in, then it settles back down. You cannot deny the human, because the human is a culmination of all lives that you have lived, your present life, and your lineage, you see. So it is experiencing or responding all the time to what it is having happen in its life based upon those things. So for you to deny an experience, for you to say you should know better, this is not correct or right, you have to know that even in that it is your human that is snuck by you, trying to make you feel as a quote unquote spiritual being, that you should not have any feelings, you see. And we have told you this is never going to stop. Your human is always going to have a response to what it is that it is viewing, what it is that it is experiencing. It's always going to get an emotional charge or response. But what is going to change is you're going to couple with this high part of yourself that now helps you to view that experience as one that is separate from yourself rather than being yourself.
And I'm not sure if I'm wording this correct, but I would also say that even if the conflict isn't with someone else, um, you can have the same problem with your own internal conflict. And I guess I would use an example of, Robin and I love to use pickleball as an example, but many days when I'm not feeling good about myself and I'm in a negative headspace and I go there and I do something bad, and then I have a bad thought, and then it just keeps spiraling and keeps spiraling, and my play gets worse and my attitude gets worse, and I leave there feeling disgusted and not good. And I was kind of there yesterday, had a bad day yesterday, and we'll touch on later. I talked to the group a little bit about my situation. We'll talk about that later. But this morning, I was in a much better headspace and I was thinking more clearly, probably more of my high self. And I was way more rational about things. And I went there and had an awesome day of play. So it doesn't have to be conflict with a person outside of you, it can be your own, right?
Absolutely. Yes. And we are glad that you brought this up, because you have these beliefs within you, these perceptions, let's call them that. That's what's actually creating the negative experience that you have, you see. And so as you come up against yourself, it's really no different than you're being presented with yourself and what it is that you are perceiving and believing in the activities that you are engaging in. And then the same happens when you engage with others that are coming up in your life experience. So the two are very similar, but it is a good point that you brought up that sometimes it is not necessarily another entity or person that is coming to you. It's actually your own that comes. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And
And
well, let's talk a minute about that, because
yeah.
one of the and that we really want to remind you and others that are listening that one of the biggest positive steps that a human takes in the development or evolution of themselves is the noticing of themselves. So the idea that you are witnessing your human in its vulnerabilities, in its perceptions of itself, when you feel the negativity, you are already beginning to use the other part of you, or the high part of you, to view yourself. And this is the beginning stages of enlightenment, or what a human would call being enlightened.
Okay. So can we discuss the role that maybe our ancestral or ancestral wounds play in our lives as far as conflict goes? Because some of it might be stuff that we just have done in this life, but maybe there's things that we're bringing in with us
Yes.
that
Yes.
stir up conflict that's not even really ours.
Yes, Robin can feel this block of thought coming, and she is saying it is something different than she has heard before, but it will resonate with you because she remembers your daughter and the close relationship she had with your mother. Yes? And you were told at one point that she had taken on or gathered up, yes, some of the struggles or personality struggles that your mother had had, that she had taken those on in the life that she is living. Do you remember
Yes,
this?
I
Yeah.
do remember.
And
Yes.
so, and rather than this randomness that is always being portrayed in spirituality about how lives are formed or how blueprints are formed, we want to tell you that it is basically by the close connection that one feels or has, yes, to someone in their life, such as your mother and your daughter, you see. So now it will make a little more sense to you, because one is very willing, very vulnerable to absorbing the energy of someone that they admired or that they were close to, you see.
Yes.
This is often the case. So this is one of the determining factors of what would make something stronger in the lineage line, or the DNA line, as you would call it in a human, of what it is they are trying to heal for the lineage, you see. And we would really like for humans to get more aware of the things that are stimulating to them or cause them to move to reactionary states, and to be able to feel that lineage that's wanting to be healed. It is kind of the work that you are doing now that we are going to talk a little bit about further into our show today. Yes. But I wanted to really give that to you because we know that you experienced firsthand a great change in your daughter as your mother passed. Yes.
I did. Yes.
Recognized very much some of the energetic patterns that she took on after your mother left this earth plane. Yes. And so this is one of the things that we would tell you is a big determining factor in the planning of the life that a human is in, and in the blueprint that they're living out, and the healing that they have agreed to do for their lineage will come through the very close, loving relationships that they have had with those that have been in their lives.
Okay. And obviously, not all that do this, like my daughter, for example, isn't even probably aware that they have done this or that they've agreed to this.
Absolutely. But as we are discussing, Heidi, we would like to make you aware. Yes.
Right. Right.
You were very close to your mother, were you not? Yes. And
Yes.
you have taken on, you would agree, in many of your emotional states, whether you were knowing it or not. We would like to give this to you because sometimes as it comes to your conscious awareness, it is much easier for you to let it dissipate or heal. Yes. But much of the feeling of abandonment or being left behind was your mother's, you see.
Oh,
Yes.
interesting, because I feel like I had some experiences in my life, probably that maybe were attracted to me because I already had that abandonment in me. But I remember when I was in the hospital as a baby, when I had spinal meningitis and just being left in that, mom was there a lot, but just being in that
but
hospital.
that was not the cause. The spinal meningitis was not the cause of the feeling of abandonment. It was already there. And that is what gave that experience to you. You see.
Yeah, I'm just saying that I had my own experiences with it that I sometimes think, but that probably attracted to me because I already had that in my bank.
Already had it, yes.
Yeah.
And so this is an important determining factor for humans to understand that some would say, well, why would a soul willingly take on a difficulty, as you would deem it, to heal in this lifetime? And we would say because you were in love of the other, you were in admiration of them, you were in close relationship with them. And so this is something that you would agree to, or something that perhaps they carried in the line that they were in and were not able to heal it. And so you decided to pick up the baton, much like running a track race, yes, where there is each one passing off the baton to the other. This is the way that we would like you to view it. So we think that this will be a great benefit to you. And we would like other humans to use this tool now that you have been given it here today, to look back a little bit, if you can even remember. Some of them you won't remember. They will be past relationships that perhaps were not in a close lifetime to the one that you are in, and you may not recall it, such as the one we have given Heidi about her and her mother. But if you have a remembrance of a relationship that was rich, that was deep, that was meaningful to you, you may want to inquire within the family some of the struggles that one may have had, because very well they might be yours as well.
Okay. Yeah, that's interesting.
Yes.
So yesterday, when I was kind of having a down day, you guys had given me a tool to use, and I thought it'd be good to share it with everybody today. It was about referring to your human like you would another person. So, like if another person was struggling, you might send them good thoughts or whatever you might do. Can you kind of give a little more depth on how to treat your human as not part of you, to kind of help it release the hold it has on you when you're in a down state?
Yes. We did another podcast a while back, and we talked about how if you can admire another person or have gratitude or appreciation for someone else that you are not able to give to yourself for whatever reason, that you can actually start to bring in manifestations that you might not otherwise be able to do under the belief that you hold of yourself, just by simply looking at someone that you can believe is worthy, that you can believe is appreciated and great, that you are grateful for, will cause the universe to respond with things that are going to flood you with things that you will appreciate and be grateful for, you see. So
Mhm.
it is kind of based along the same principle. We want you to know that you are two. You are not, you have a human tool that is used for the experiences that you're having here while you are here. And then there's this high energy source part of you that is coming through, much the same as your electrical charges are running through your wires to your homes. Yes. So you have these very two integral parts that are working together. And so we have told you before that as you become in judgment of your human, as you become the human resides oftentimes in a much lower level frequency than the high energy source of you. So in order for that frequency to flow into you, you have to be closely aligned or matched in order for that to do. So the tool that we gave you was much the same, where you take yourself out of the equation because for whatever reason you are holding yourself in judgment or opposition of yourself, and that you just start to talk to that human as though it is a separate part of you, and you let it know what you appreciate it for. You soothe it if it is not feeling good. We have explained to you that you're dealing with not just the life you are in, your past lives, your lineage, it's all in there. Some of it you may remember, some of it you may not remember. So how can you really hold that human accountable? And then what happens is, as you do this, as you judge the human or oppose it for the experiences that is giving you, it becomes very withdrawn. It starts to feel not appreciated. It starts to go into its own negative level of energy. And so you get further and further away from this connecting point that you're really wanting to achieve with the high part of yourself. So we really like the tool of using your human as a separate entity and simply talking to it and soothing it as you would your own daughter, a close friend, perhaps one of your parents, whoever it is that would be going through something difficult, that you would not start to condemn it and judge it. You would not do this. You would not offer this to your child or to a close friend. We want you to treat yourself with the same respect and offer it the soothing that is needed in order for it to come back into alignment, because that's what's going to happen. The minute you recognize that human, the minute you say to it, I feel you, I know what you are going through, I am not judging you for it. You have had lots of life experiences I can remember and some that I cannot, but I am so grateful for you having the experiences and letting that feeling run through me so that I can know what it is that I carry within me, so that I can offer the healing to you through the high part of myself, you see. And this is the best way that you could do it, to use the tool that you are given for experiences, and then to soothe it as much as you have to.
Mhm. And I did do this last night. As I mentioned earlier, I was kind of in a little bit of a down uh, way yesterday, and when I went to bed last night, um, I s- I was feeling better, but not
Mhm.
100%. And I
Yes.
was sharing with Robin earlier that my night was very interrupted. My sleep was not good. I woke up probably 4 or 5 times in the night. And each time I woke up, I was in a very yucky, icky place.
Mhm.
I either
Mhm.
had a bad dream that felt yucky, or I had a thought in my head that felt yucky. And I used that tool of referring to myself as a separate thing.
Mhm.
And I would soothe it, and I'd go back to sleep. And I woke up this morning thinking, oh, I'm going to be exhausted and I'm not going to play pickleball well today
Yes.
because
Mhm.
I had hardly any sleep. And I actually woke up very energized and feeling really good, because each encounter throughout the night using that tool must have, um, and we're going to get into this in a little bit when we talk about this kundalini thing,
Yes.
but it must have released and allowed some of that to pass through me because I wasn't attaching to it.
Yes. And part of this, Heidi, we would like to shed a little bit of light on what occurred for you in the waking up periodically all night. Is you have been so opposed to not feeling well in some of the emotional states that you've been going through the daytime, that your kundalini is trying to accommodate you by running some of the energy through you at night, you see.
Mm.
So it is why you are waking up. It is like you are doing double time in this healing journey that you are on. And it is really your desire to move this energy through you quickly. And it is one of the avenues that is being taken for you by having some of the energetic releases occur at night while you are sleeping. However, you are waking up a little bit, yes, and
Yeah,
experiencing some of them. But it is one of the reasons why we are bringing this to you,
yeah.
because we want you, upon going to bed at night, to say, I am grateful for the energetic releases that I am getting during my sleep time. Would you please smooth them out or lessen them to the degree that I'm not woke by them. I would like to continue to release them at night while I'm sleeping, but I would like to remain asleep while you do it.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. So that's probably a good segue into talking about. So we had mentioned to our listeners a while ago that Robin had a new entity that has come to speak through her, Shiva. And with the addition of the new entity, Robin had this feeling that she was going to be able to um, do some energetic work, or I should say, Shiva was going to do some energetic work to humans to help them to release their Kundalini and even accelerate the process. So
Yes.
when I was in Florida a few weeks ago, I was a guinea pig and Robin did this. And of course, Robin's always nervous that she thinks, I don't want credit for this. I don't want people thinking this. And she's very humble that way. But I said, no, I want to try this experience. I believe, in the group and in Shiva. And I think that, this is something I'd like to try. So we did try it. And it was a really cool experience when it was happening, but I was busy in Florida and I didn't really think anything of it until a week or two when I got home. I thought, oh, I'm going to start doing some meditations. And I always would do energy moving through the chakra meditations and I'd feel sensations with that, but it was like a whole new level of sensations and movements in my body. And I was like taken back. And so I called Robin right away and told her, what was going on with the experience. And the group came in and said that the Kundalini energy is trying to move. And obviously, I have stuff to clear out and blocks and different occurrences. And that's part of why I think I was in that down state yesterday. And I'm going to have the group kind of share with anybody that does go through that experience why these occur. And also just let everybody know that in the future, I think this is a place where Robin and Shiva will be going. If people are interested in awakening their Kundalini, they can be assistive in that process.
Yes. And we would tell you, Heidi, that you also will be doing the same work with Robin. Yes.
Oh,
It is
okay.
why there are a number of you that are in her close circle. Yes.
Mhm.
That we call that there's an activation occurring, or we are assisting in the activation of these humans.
Mhm.
And we would like to commend you for making the correction that it is Shiva that is transmitting the energy. It is not Robin. Yes.
Mhm.
And it is difficult for her when she gets these knowings or downloads of energy, especially when she is the one doing the work that she does not want to attach to it in any way. And sometimes it even makes her a little bit hesitant to actually go forward or do it. So it was a big step for her to do that energetic transmission to you through
Mhm.
us. Yes. So
Mhm.
what we would really like to explain to you, to the listeners, and we know that we have told you a little bit about it, Heidi, is that what is done by the Shatki energy that is released through Robin's energetic system that we are using as a tool to other humans, and what we actually transmitted to you, what it does is it kickstarts your chakras or your energy centers. And so
Mhm.
once what prevents the Kundalini from rising are many of the emotions that are stored within inside the energy centers that are the chakras in the human body, you see. And
Mhm.
so in past times, you have heard stories where it had taken hundreds of years or hundreds of lifetimes or millions, who knows, yes, for even monks to raise their Kundalini. But they were actually taught that they had to be perfect, that they had to meditate all day long, that they had these what we would deem as almost not achievable states of being as a human to of perfection in order to obtain the level
Mhm.
of spirituality that they were trying to obtain. And
Yeah.
why we are here is we are here to teach all humans that you are equal, you are same as us, you are same as each other, that it is your desire that will awaken you, that the
Mhm.
meditation is something that a human believes in and that they use as a tool in order to get them to believe that they are the creator that we have told you that you are. And so we are here really because you are in a period of time in the plane that you are living on, where there needs to be a quick change that happens. We don't want humans waiting or meditating for lifetime after lifetime or hundreds of years in order to obtain the worthiness that they already are, you see. So
Yes.
we are here in the building of the belief, and we would tell you that there was a great expanded belief in you when you received. And why did you receive? Because you believed and you aligned in that belief, in that perception that there was energy being offered to you. And in this way, you took it, you did it. Your belief, your desire is what caused your kundalini to be activated, you see. And so now you noticed right away you are getting the bodily movements like Robin had told you that you would get. She's very familiar with those, yes.
Mhm.
And so your face is being stretched in different ways, and the energy is what is it doing right now? It's actually when a human, we told you before we started this recording today, when a human feels really upset by the emotions that they are going through in this process, it is usually present day energy patterns or lifetime that they are in, that they are going through. And so they are attached to them because they are living them right now.
Mhm.
They are consciously in them, yes. But as this process goes on, as it has with Robin, is once you move through your present day energy patterns that are lodged within you, you will start to then obtain lifetimes and lineage lifetimes of others that have gone before you. You will start to go through releases of these energetic layers, and that's what they are. It's energy, whether you want to call it an experience or a positive or negative, whatever it is. You will start to, Robin will have, she will have her mouth wide open like she is screaming and tears rolling down her face. And then 2 minutes later, she will get up and walk on as though nothing happened. And why is this? Because she has moved into the late stages of lineage healing, and it no longer feels as though it is hers. And it isn't hers. It's, but you are through your DNA and through your bloodline, you are all connected. And so as you have this desire and as you release this energy and you get your chakras kick-started, as we did to you, Heidi, it will start to spell things. And then as the process continues, and Robin would tell you, and Heidi, we know we have had this discussion that her process has been going on for a good 25 years. And you were wondering, well, is it going to take me 25 years? And we would say no, because we are going to continue to kickstart your system and move it at a rapid rate through this energy transmissions that we are going to be doing to you, that you will start to shed energy faster and faster and faster. And you will quickly move through what you are in this lifetime that is now kind of a little bit of a rain cloud over you at times that you didn't with last night. And pretty soon you will just be the witness. That's what Robin has moved into. And so we really want to explain what the witness is. The witness is feeling their human tool as it expels energy, but the master is just watching it. Yes. And so Robin is saying, oh, great, I am becoming a little bit of a master then. Yes, because I am able to just watch this energy and not take it on anymore. The other thing that we shared with you, Heidi, that is important for a human to know when you are going through this work is that you really make sure that when you do move through an energy pattern, that you complete it, that you don't stop in the middle because your timer is off or you have somewhere to run off to, because you could find yourself lodged in an energetic pattern that would then carry into your day and you wouldn't feel very good. So it is a good idea for you to perhaps say to yourself, by yourself, that I've got about 10 more minutes here. Let's get this thing completed. Let's make sure that this energy is expelled and that I am not taking any of it with me out into my day.
Yeah, and it's real important, like you had mentioned, the belief. Like, I don't know how many of our listeners are into energy meditations or not, but or whatever, method you're using, but just to have the belief that it is possible for everyone to have this experience. And if you have that belief, you can create that for yourself as well. And then also, I was wondering if the group could just talk about another thing we were talking about before we came on. Why is this so important that you guys are doing this and assisting people with this right now? You mentioned something about where we are on the earth and that we don't have another 100 years to necessarily wait for people to slowly process through this, and why you're starting to offer this as an assistance to humans.
Yes. Basically, what has occurred on your earth is a great amount of disparity, a great amount of opposition energy, whether it be in your races, in your warring with other countries, in your inflationary prices. There is a lot of energy that is being released by humans in the experiences that they are having. And many of them, we would say, are deemed as negative in the view of the human. But as we have told you in past transmissions, as we receive or you receive in all that is the experiences that you are emitting, it is charges of energy that are going into a bank account basically that belong to you, and then that bank account is merged together with the large account of all that is. Yes. So but now, as a human stays lodged in the creation point, perhaps from negativity, they have sent out the energy that is being received and uplifted in the high plane of all that is. Yes. But they keep staying, they're stuck. Yes. They're stuck in the negative. They keep regurgitating. And your level of consciousness on this plane that you are on is reaching the point where it is either going to bust or it has to expand. And in order for it to expand, you have to move out of the negative creation point and align to what has been created by the experiences that you have emitted. Yes. And so how are you going to do that? You're going to do it by releasing the kundalini and as many people as possible, by elevating consciousness. This is what happens when you release your kundalini, when you open up your energy centers and you release all of the energetic patterns that are stored within you in the life that you are in and all your lineage and past lives. There's this massive shift that will occur. A human looks at past as something that can't be changed. And we're here to tell you today that energy can be changed. And as we told Heidi prior to beginning this exchange today, that as she does the healings on herself, and this includes Robin and anybody that is on the journey of healing themselves, that not only do you heal yourself, but it reverberates back through the entire lineage and it is removed. So now that grandchild that is sitting in her living room several times a week, when he goes out to have his family, that strand is going to be gone. That piece of lineage that has been carried from one human to another that has been healed has now been removed for him, because it is an energetic pattern that is broken up or reabsorbed back into all that is. And this is a cleanup time, or what is needed for a human to move out of where they are lodged in. So we hope that we are explaining it to you correctly so that you can understand that a human, when they are creating, they can create from positivity or negativity. But when you are aligning, you must rise in your vibratory level to match or meet what it is you have become by the experiences you've had. So we are doing these energetic transmissions now. It is the work that we want to move into with Robin, so that people can start to rise out of their human and meet the high part of themselves. And in doing this, change not only their present lives, but their past lives and every bit of lineage that is connected to them. And there will be this immediate pop-up or shift or rising of consciousness in the entire planet.
Well, and what I think is so cool about that is, you just look at your own life, and when you have things that weigh you down and how much less you're able to offer of yourself to the world because you're so drugged down. So now if we're actually healing these wounds for these little ones coming in, they're going to just be lighter and freer and more expansive and be able to create things beyond our dreams because they don't have all the garbage in them to deal
Now
with.
you understand on a much deeper level by what it is we have transmitted to you today, that the power of one. Think about that, because as you do the work that you are doing, and as you received the energy that we shoved through your system, yes, the numbers of healings and the past lineage and lifetimes that you have no idea are so great are caused by one. You see. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and kind of funny, our lineage is getting double duty then, because with us being
Absolutely.
related, we're hopefully healing extra.
Yes.
Yeah.
And as you know, yes, Robin has activated two other people who are very
Yes.
close to her within her
Yes.
family, and they will begin to experience what it is you are experiencing. Yes. And we want to say they are one is getting a little of the symptoms now, but again, what really speeded your receiving of that energy, Heidi, was your belief and your ability to perceive for yourself what it is that you wanted. So you were able to you have to align. We have told humans this before, that they will ask about fairies, they will ask about all different types of divination tools. And we said to them, your belief and your desire is what makes these material things possible for you. And so
Yes.
your belief and your desire to be a facilitator is what has actually caused your alignment to it. So we are not able to give energy to someone who cannot perceive or believe that they are able to receive it.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Mhm.
I also wanted to take a moment to share. We had a listener that reached out and wanted to have a conversation with me and just share some of how much listening to Athena and the podcast has really assisted him in his life. And he kind of had a clever line, and he actually wrote an email back and put it into words. So I just wanted to share it to our listeners.
Yes.
Um, he writes, I have found ever since I started listening to Robin's podcast that the messages therein work as good as taking daily vitamins. While regular vitamins, as we know, work on boosting your biological health, Robin's podcasts, at least for me, provide similar benefits for my mental and spiritual well being. I certainly can vouch for that, not to mention the additional benefits are that such priceless messages are delivered free of charge. What more can one ask for these days? I truly appreciate and feel indebted to Robin's contribution to the well being of humankind. Please keep it coming, Robin, and thank you, thank you, thank you for your service.
It is a wonderful letter. Yes.
Yes.
Uh, and in response to this one who has sent the letter, he has called us to him. He is aligned to us. He is the creator of the experience that he is having in the wonderful podcast that he is receiving for free. So we always want to remind a human, and we appreciate his kind words, and Robin does too, has great gratitude and appreciation for him. But we want to remind him to be sure to give that to himself, because he would never have had the experience that he is having if he had not desired to do so, you see. So we are going to continue to be on a quest to lift humanity. It is why we have come. It is becoming clearer and clearer to Robin that there is a mission that we are on, yes,
Mm-hmm.
and that it is going to require her to be able to perceive and receive and believe what it is that is coming to her in the knowings that we are supplying through the consciousness that is her, you see.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And this same person, he did have a couple of kind of general like life questions. I can't specifically remember them off the top of my head, and I don't have the paper in front of me at the moment. So just so you're aware, we will address those on another episode coming up. I'll make sure I have it in front of me, and we'll discuss those questions. Or if anyone else has questions or comments, please feel free to email me, Heidi at athenaintruth.com. And we want to thank everyone for listening today. And we hope that this helped and someone gets something good out of our show today.
Yes. And we also would like to thank everyone for the contribution they are giving in the listening to what it is that we are bringing. Yes. And we also would like to make you aware that we do have our book available on Amazon. We are more grateful than you will know for anyone that would choose to read it and to make a review upon it. We are getting very close to launching our course, which will be based upon this book. It will be an intensive training on how it is you can become the master that you were meant to be as you are living the lives you are living. And so Heidi will be the facilitator of that, and we will be available to answer many personal questions as well as group questions. And oftentimes what happens in a setting such as this is the appropriate things that are needing to be answered just happen to come forward. You see, it is an attraction-based thing when one becomes part of a course like this. We are planning to do other books and to have other courses that will follow this as this Kundalini transmission process continues and grows. Perhaps this will be the next course that will be available to humans. So we are excited about what the future will bring, and we are grateful for all those that are joining us on the journey.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Good day.